Hey there! Today we're talking about the First Home Savings Account, FHSA, and whether it's a good option for first-time homebuyers. With so many investment and savings options out there, it can be tough to know where to put your money. So, let's dive in and see if the FHSA is worth considering. Did you know that Canada has a brand new registered savings plan called the First Home Savings Account, FHSA? It's tax-free and just launched on April 1st. As banks and other financial institutions start offering these accounts, I wanted to share 5 important things you need to know so you can make the most out of this exciting new opportunity. Let's dive in. So, there's a new savings plan in Canada called the First Home Savings Account, FHSA. It's a tax-free way to save up to $40,000 towards buying your first home. You can keep the account open for up to 15 years or until the year you turn 71. If you don't use the funds to buy a qualifying home, you can transfer them to an RRSP or RRIF, or withdraw them on a taxable basis. Check out these 5 things you need to know to take advantage of this new plan. What's a first-time home buyer? So, to qualify for the FHSA, you must be a first-time home buyer, which means that you and your spouse or partner haven't owned a principal residence where you lived during the calendar year before the account is opened or in the preceding 4 calendar years. In other words, you must not have owned a home in the last 5 years to be eligible for this account. How much can I contribute? If you're eligible, you can contribute up to $8,000 annually towards your FHSA, with a maximum lifetime contribution of $40,000. However, there's a penalty tax of 1% per month for any overcontributions. Keep in mind that the annual limit applies to contributions made within a particular calendar year, and unlike RRSPs, contributions made within the first 60 days of a subsequent year can't be deducted in the current tax year. The good news is that you don't have to claim the FHSA deduction in the year you make the contribution, similar to RRSP contributions. You can carry forward the deduction indefinitely and claim it in a later tax year, which may be beneficial if you anticipate being in a higher tax bracket in the future. No need to worry if you don't have enough cash to contribute the maximum $8,000 per year to your FHSA. You can transfer funds from your existing RRSP to your FHSA without any tax implications, as long as you abide by the annual and lifetime contribution limits of the FHSA. However, keep in mind that these transfers won't be tax deductible since you've already claimed a tax deduction when the funds were added to your RRSP, and won't affect your RRSP contribution room. If you don't use up the entire annual contribution limit of $8,000, you can carry forward the unused portion up to a maximum of $8,000. This means that in the future, you can contribute the unused amount in addition to your annual contribution limit of $8,000, subject to the $40,000 lifetime limit. It's important to keep in mind that the carry-forward amounts only start accumulating after you open an FHSA for the first time. So, the bottom line is that the FHSA is a great opportunity for prospective first-time homebuyers to save for a down payment on their first home in Canada on a tax-free basis. The ability to carry forward unused contribution room and transfer funds from an RRSP makes it even more flexible. Be sure to consult with a financial advisor to determine if the FHSA is right for you and your financial goals. What if you don't buy a home? If you don't use the funds in your FHSA to buy a home before closing the account, there are a few options available. The funds can be transferred on a tax-free basis to your RRSP or RRIF without affecting your contribution room. Alternatively, if you withdraw the funds, the amount will be included in your taxable income for the year. It's important to note that any unused contribution room in your FHSA will also be lost if you close the account without using the funds to purchase a qualifying home. It's true that contributing to an FHSA can be a smart move for first-time homebuyers who qualify, as there is no risk involved, assuming that the funds are invested wisely. Even if you end up not buying a home, you can transfer the funds tax-free to an RRSP or RRIF, or include them in your income. This effectively gives you an additional $40,000, plus growth, of RRSP room and up to a 15-year tax deferral. If you're a renter who qualifies, it might be worth considering contributing $8,000 to an FHSA instead of your RRSP, even if you don't plan on buying a home, because you'll essentially get additional RRSP room. What about the Homebuyers Plan, HBP? First-time homebuyers can participate in both the Homebuyers Plan, HBP, and the FHSA for the same home purchase. This can provide additional flexibility and options for prospective homebuyers, as they can potentially use both programs to help fund their home purchase. The HBP allows for a tax-free withdrawal of up to $35,000 from an RRSP, while the FHSA allows for tax-free savings towards a first home purchase. It's important to note, however, that the repayment rules for the HBP are different from the rules for the FHSA, and any amounts withdrawn from an RRSP under the HBP must be repaid within 15 years. Is the Homebuyers Plan better? It really depends on your situation. With the Homebuyers Plan, you can only withdraw up to $35,000, but you have to pay it back eventually. However, with the FHSA, you can contribute up to $40,000 without paying it back. If your goal is to buy a single-family home, then it makes sense to prioritize filling up your FHSA first. This way, you can benefit from both RRSP and TFSA advantages. Once you've maxed out your FHSA, the next best option is putting your money into a TFSA. The government recently proposed that first-time homebuyers can use both the HBP and FHSA. Additionally, you can transfer your RRSP to your FHSA at any time. This gives you more options for retirement savings and allows people with defined contribution pensions to transfer funds to their FHSA when needed. Does the first home savings account make owning a home more affordable? Well, the truth is, no, it doesn't really make housing more affordable. It's not like prices are going to magically drop just because there's another tax-free account available. The government might argue that the tax benefits will make it easier to get into the housing market, but with real estate prices skyrocketing year over year, it's hard to see how that would really help. Even if everyone used the FHSA as an investment account and saw huge gains, that would just increase the overall buying pool, likely leading to even higher prices. And let's be real, most young Canadians haven't even maxed out their TFSA yet, and saving for retirement is a struggle. While the first home savings account might sound like a nice idea, in theory, chances are most people won't be able to contribute to it on top of everything else they're already saving for. So, while the account isn't necessarily a bad idea, it probably would have made more sense for the government to change the rules around the Homebuyers Plan. To sum up, while the tax-free first home savings account may not necessarily make buying a home more affordable or attainable for most people, it still offers a valuable savings option for those who are specifically looking to save for a home purchase. Keep in mind that the account's tax-free status can still provide some advantages in terms of long-term savings and investment growth. However, it's important to remember that there are other investment and savings options available as well, and ultimately, the best choice will depend on your personal financial goals and situation. So, do your research, talk to a financial advisor, and find what works best for you. If you found this information helpful, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future.